The first sign was not a comet but a chime, one bright note that hung over the block like a spoon on crystal. Street lamps hesitated. Dogs forgot their reason. Then the note folded into a shimmer, tinting gutters and mailboxes the way dawn tints sleep. She followed the breath. Bare feet, careful balance, pupil star bright as a secret lantern. Neeko did not arrive as a hero stepping from a poster. She arrived like a color deciding it had a pulse. Hair held a reef of constellations. Raindrop scales rearranged along her skin as though conferring and agreed on a pattern no alphabet could hold. She looked at a streetlight and it blushed. She looked at a puddle and it remembered being sky. Adults felt a sleepwalking float. Children saw everything. They watched her climb the chain link like a lullaby, tail uncurling like punctuation. When the wind asked who she was, it learned the word Neeko and repeated it. The hiss of pine, the murmur of alleyways, the hush under a blanket. She spoke in colors first. Turquoise near a bruised knee that stopped hurting. Violet across a loud apartment that turned argument into remembering. Gold around a stray with a broken ear. The ear mended and the cat forgot to be cruel. Lines on the soccer field straightened. Where she stepped, gum gave up its stickiness and leaves chose cleaner green. Yet the echo of war wears pastel. The chime returned with thinner voices under it, the kind of pitch that hides knives. Street signs pointed toward corners that had never existed. Swing set chains imagined teeth. Posters on the gym wall smiled wider than faces. Somewhere beyond the cul-de-sac, a hungry geometry woke and tugged at what was certain. Neeko tilted her head toward the school and listened to a floor ask for help. Liminal witnesses multiplied. A custodian saw a lizard girl wearing his younger reflection and learned regret can be tuned, not erased. A crossing guard watched a stop sign share a glance with the red in Neeko's eye and decide to be a shield. A teenager looked up from a notebook of curses and found them translated into constellations. He kept writing but began to say please to the page. Then rupture, shy, then everywhere. The gym doors opened without hands. The floor showed the sky stitched beneath like a second court woven from auroras. Banners unrolled to reveal animals the school had never chosen. Bleachers leaned in to hear. Neeko set her palm on the half-court circle and paint became a pond, then a galaxy, then a door. Backpacks felt lighter. A hard voice softened. Enemies do not wear uniforms when they hatch from bad wishes. They arrive as glitches, a mascot shadow sharper than the body, a cheer turned inside out, a phone flashing messages no one sent. They arrive as bargains, fame in your pocket, a mirror that edits, a mouth that says the cutting thing first. They asked the gym to bend and it bent and began to swallow. Neeko copied herself into a choir of greens and blues and bright impossible pink, each echo a different kindness with teeth. Fighting looked like an assembly done right. The chorus drafted plays without whistles. Constellations scrolled like subtitles under feet. Her staff planted and grew a tree until the ceiling had something to say to the sky. Each time malice hardened, Neeko pressed a fingertip to its angle and it softened. For a blink the city synced, streetlights winking on in a long wave. She bled color when struck, teal arguing with cobalt, then agreeing to be kinder. A fake friend peeled off the wall like a sticker. Returned, it became a bandage. The hungry geometry tried to close and found only chalk. In the rafters a prayer made of anger remembered it wanted to be hope and fell as confetti shaped like small moons. Revelation is not a crown, it is a question. When the last glitch ran out of breath and the last bargain realized it was a tuxedo for mold, Neeko mimicked each watcher, not as mockery but as witness. The sigh with no room, the jealousy behind jokes, the fright wearing anger. Then she became herself again or the self that best fit. Neeko protects, she said, and the words were light to carry, heavy to ignore. The sky stitched back into a floor. The chime dissolved into crickets. Shoelaces were tied and no one remembered choosing that. The custodian's mop was clean and his oldest grief lighter by a glass of water. The crossing guard sign repainted itself. The teenager's notebook held a map to a place that didn't exist and a reminder to make it. Neeko walked to the field. Grass straightened behind her. She gave the stray cat a ribbon that smelled like afternoons not yet decided. She leaned toward the moon and the moon leaned back a degree. She turned for a moment into a teacher who needed courage, a kid who needed sleep, a bully who needed an exit, and then back to Neeko, satisfied the colors had moved from dangerous places to places they could learn. She did not fix the world. Guardians correct angles. By morning the school looked ordinary except the ordinary had been tuned. The court remembered applause more easily. The field insisted on one extra daisy per square yard. The cul-de-sac kept better secrets but none that rotted. If you want to find her, look where colors argue and refuse to be enemies. Listen for the chime that is a breath. If a puddle remembers being sky, step around it unless you are ready to be taller tomorrow. If a shadow looks kinder than the object casting it, say thank you. If your reflection does the right thing before you do, you are already standing in the door she painted. People will say a comet passed, that it was weather or a grid fault. Let them. They did not hear the gym ask to be sky and learn it could. You did. You know a color learned your name and kept it without stealing it. Now, when the city forgets to be gentle, a hue in the corner of your room waits like a friend. When the chime returns, it will not be for heroes. It will be for anyone under a flickering streetlight who needs to borrow a better outline. Neeko will arrive like the first breath after a long swim, the kind that burns then blesses. She will be herself in all your best guesses. She will tilt her head and the night will tilt back. And the color that knows your name will brighten just enough to carry you to morning.